Right now at 5, a police pursuit reaches speeds over 100 miles per hour near the state line.
And it is breezy out there. It is cold. Temperatures dropping through the day. A look at your forecast coming up.
Plus, new charges filed in connection with Friday night's incident at Schlinger Park in Pittsburgh.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Good morning and welcome to the KOAM Morning News. It's 5 a.m. I'm Samantha Walker.
I'm Chris Warner. It is now Wednesday, halfway through the work week. Wow, we are moving right along. It's time for some weather, and I got some weather to tell you about. Samantha, did you have a good morning so far?
Yes.
Excellent. That's good. All right, we're gonna dive head first in this because there's some stuff we did to kind of explain. First, our live look downtown Pittsburgh. You can see, not me. Hi, you could. It is magic. I love the magic. It's Wednesday. That's actually, I went to Casey's this morning and I greeted the guy. He's like, "How you doing?" I was like, "Well, it's Wednesday. We're halfway through the week. That counts for something, right? We're making it. Then it's going to get chilly today, tomorrow, and it's going to get very cold this weekend." Again, we'll talk about that in a moment. First, though, there's some light clouds out there. Our Westco camera, 7th and Range line in Joplin, looks good so far as well. Still some wet spots here and there, but the shower activity is pretty well cleared on out. KDOT camera, 69-400, looking east along 171. I think it's frozen, or there's somebody that's just stopped in the middle of the highway, but I'd be willing to bet it is frozen right now. And the MoDOT camera, 20th and Range line in Joplin, looking good so far as well. Quick look at those temperatures. We're at 45 in Joplin, 42 in Pittsburgh, and these numbers are going to be important in a minute because I'm going to break something down. Temperatures around the region up north where we've already had that cold front pass on through, we've got low 40s. And then we get into the mid 40s. Our warm spot right now is Jay sitting at 50 as that front continues to bring that cold air in behind it. The winds not awful yet, but they're going to start to increase across the area as we go through the morning into the afternoon. So we do have some wind chills into the 30s across a good portion of the northern, really half of our region this morning. So here's what we've got. Gusty north winds, these clouds clearing out as we roll into the afternoon and evening, eventually leaving us with clear skies through the afternoon, evening, and overnight hours. However, as I mentioned, our temperatures are going to gradually drop across the region. First, kids heading to school. This is where it gets a little more interesting. Cloudy skies, 44, mid 40s at lunch and recess, low 40s as they head home. Now, some of you, again, especially up north, may be a little cooler than this as the day progresses. So, our high temperatures today, this is what I want to tell you very quickly. Our high temperatures, if you go back, a day from now and look at the almanac data, whatever we put in for record keeping, it's going to probably show our highs like you saw in Jay, close to 50. But our daytime highs, and that's what's different. Daytime highs is what we look at when we would traditionally reach our peak heating. That's what we're going with those numbers today. So yeah, technically our high today was probably about 50 degrees, but our daytime highs are going to be in the low to mid 40s as the skies clear and temperatures begin to drop. On top of that, north winds 20 to 25 with gusts of 35. A very breezy day. It's going to make it feel a lot colder out there than what it really is. Now, the winds will ease up tonight, but it'll still be pretty darn chilly. We're going to be seasonably cold the next couple of days. We got a big temperature drop into the weekend. We're going to break down those details for you here in just a few more minutes. Samantha?
Chris, thanks. A police pursuit from Oklahoma into Missouri ends in a fatal crash. Last night in Wyandotte, Oklahoma, police pursued a possible DWI pickup truck that was throwing items out the window. According to authorities, the pickup was traveling at high rates of speed, over 100 miles per hour, along the Newton-McDonald County line. The Missouri Highway Patrol eventually took over the pursuit and followed the truck onto Rose Bay Drive, a dirt road known for being very curvy and treacherous. After another mile of pursuit, the pickup crashed at a 90-degree curve into a dry creek bed. 2 occupants were trapped in the truck with serious injuries and were promptly rescued and transported to nearby hospitals. The driver, a 38-year-old male from Joplin, later died from his injuries. A Nevada police investigation is underway after the Missouri State Fire Marshal says yesterday's house fire in Nevada was intentionally set. Crews responded to the fire East Ashland Avenue just before 9:30. They found flames and smoke coming from the 1.5-story home. Multiple fire departments responded. One Nevada firefighter fell through the floor but was able to get out safely. He was taken to the hospital but has since been released. The home was vacant at the time of the fire. Well, Crawford County prosecutors formally charged a 17-year-old with first-degree murder in the fatal shooting of a Girard High School senior. The court held a detention hearing yesterday for the juvenile, who also faces 4 counts of aggravated endangering a child and criminal use of a weapon. The charges stem from Friday night's shooting at Schlinger Park in Pittsburgh. 18-year-old Adam Basari was found with gunshot wounds and pronounced dead at the scene. Later that night, Crawford County deputies arrested the suspect in Arma. Basari was a senior at Girard High School, set to graduate in May. Eastside Cafe in Girard will sell pulled pork sandwiches Friday from 5 to 7 p.m., with all proceeds going to the family. There's also a GoFundMe set up for Adam's family. A judge denies the release of former Cherokee County Deputy Garrett Gazzio, who faces charges of producing child pornography. A grand jury indicted Gazzio in December, and he remains in custody over community safety concerns. Authorities say he allegedly maintained an inappropriate relationship with a minor, exchanging thousands of texts and images. The KBI helped investigate the case, which goes to trial on March 2nd in Wichita. Gayoso resigned from the sheriff's office last year. Well, starting mid-January, Arkansas work zone cameras will not only catch speeders, but also detect drivers using handheld devices like cell phones. The Arkansas Highway Patrol says using a handheld device in a work zone is illegal and hard to enforce until now. Cameras will alert officers, who can then safely pull over drivers after the work zone. Signs will warn drivers about camera enforcement. This new technology aims to protect road workers and motorists alike. Enforcement begins soon on I-40 and on I-49. Well, Jackson County, Missouri lawmaker wants to ban law enforcement officers from wearing masks while on duty. The proposal comes as federal ICE agents conduct operations wearing ski masks and other face coverings. Lawmakers Nani Abarca says his ordinance would prohibit authorities from concealing their faces on badges without pre-approval. Agencies could face internal punishments, civil lawsuits, and criminal misdemeanors for violations.
When ICE comes into our community, when any authority comes into our community and says, I'm going to cover my face, I don't have to tell you who I am, I don't have to tell you what my badge number is, there is no accountability. It hurts community policing.
Jackson County Sheriff Darrell Forte opposes the ordinance, calling it government overreach. Forte says deputies will use face coverings based on reasonableness and discretion. Park University political science professor Matt Harris says courts will determine if the local law conflicts with federal authority. The ordinance awaits a vote from the Anti-Crime Committee. Well, that's a look at this morning's top stories and weather. Coming up on the KOAM Morning News. President Trump sends a message to protesters overseas. Plus, Taylor Swift makes chart history with a milestone she's never achieved before. And we have gusty winds continuing into Friday with big temperature drop this weekend. Chris has a look at your forecast. You're watching the KOAM Morning News. We'll be right back. Topping Nation Watch in a wide-ranging interview with CBS News, President Trump says he's prepared to take strong action against the Iranian regime. As Erica Brown reports, that statement comes amidst reports thousands of Iranian citizens have been killed in the past 2 weeks in a series of protests calling for new leadership.
After more than 2 weeks of protests, during which human rights groups say thousands of demonstrators have been killed, President Trump issued a message Tuesday to Iranian protesters.
Keep protesting, take over your institutions if possible, and all I say to them is help is on its way.
Americans woke up this morning and they saw that you said help is on the way.
Yeah.
What do you mean by that?
Well, there's a lot of help on the way and in different forms, including economic help from our standpoint, and not going to help Iran very much.
In an interview with CBS Evening News anchor Tony DeCopel, the president said the U.S. is prepared to take strong action against Iran.
When they start killing thousands of people and now you're telling me about hanging, we'll see how that works out for them. It's not going to work out good.
President Trump also weighed in on the Justice Department's probe into Federal Reserve Chair Jerome Powell, who is facing an investigation related to a multi-billion-dollar renovation of the Federal Reserve headquarters.
He's into billions and billions of dollars, and it looks like they won't open for a long time. And he's either corrupt or incompetent.
The probe comes as the president continues to call on Powell to lower interest rates. The investigation has sparked bipartisan concern.
If there's nothing there, and I would hope and think there is nothing there, then this is destabilizing, and it looks like the Justice Department is being used as a weapon.
Powell maintains the probe is politically motivated. Erica Brown, CBS News, the White House.
The heads of 10 major central banks and global financial institutions threw their collective support behind Powell yesterday, saying in a joint statement that it was, quote, critical to preserve the Federal Reserve's independence. Well, still to come, property managers turn to DNA detectives to solve dog poop mysteries. Plus, we have gusty winds continuing into Friday with temperature drops this weekend. Chris has a look at your forecast. Taylor Swift has rewritten the Billboard record books, but she's still finding ways to break new ground on the charts. David Daniel has that and more in today's Hollywood Minute.
I swore my loyalty to me, myself, and I.
For all her success, Taylor Swift had never had a song top the Billboard Hot 100 for 10 weeks until now. The Fate of Ophelia is the first of Swift's 13 career #1 hits to spend double digits at the top of that chart. One battle after another is in yet another battle with Sinners. The films lead this year's Motion Picture Sound Editors Awards nominations with 3 apiece. The 73rd Annual Golden Reel Awards take place March 8th in Los Angeles.
You will never find the one piece.
My friends. Together. There's nothing we can't take on.
Luffy and the Straw Hats face off against a secret society of assassins in the official teaser for Season 2 of One Piece. The pirate adventures continue when One Piece Into the Grand Line sets sail March 10th on Netflix. In Hollywood, I'm David Daniel.
I think Chris and I are partially responsible for how popular Fate of Ophelia has been, at least listening-wise, because we've been listening to it a lot. Well, now here's Chris with a quick look at your forecast.
I mean, it is a catchy tune. Like I said, I'm not a Swiftie per se, but she does make some good music on occasion. But I like music from, all the way back to like the 50s and 60s. I have a wide range. And our temperatures, we're not going to see the 50s or 60s, not at least for the next several days. In fact, it's going to get downright cold into the weekend. We're going to break it all down for you when the KOAM Morning News returns. Time now is 5:17. Welcome back to the KOAM Morning News. 5:19 now on this Wednesday morning. Happy Wednesday to you all, halfway through the week. However, Mother Nature is not wishing us a happy Wednesday because it's going to be windy, it's going to be cold, it's going to be very cold as we head into the weekend. So we're going to start, of course, with the future track. We've got cloudy skies out there. The rain showers are done. They've cleared out. There's really nothing left. That was kind of an expectation. Could get a sprinkle or two as the clouds continue to clear, but not really expecting any kind of widespread rain. By this afternoon and evening, it's clear skies. It is very windy. We're talking north winds gusting to 35. So those temperatures, again, thankfully, they don't plummet today, but they will fall as we head through the afternoon and evening. That's going to put our wind chills back into the 20s and eventually into the teens. Now, the good news is the winds ease up a bit overnight, but as we've discussed in the past, when it gets cold enough, it does not take much more than a light breeze to bring that wind chill down a bit. So our wind chills are expected to remain in the teens overnight tonight into our Thursday. Thursday, we're going to be breezy again. That's going to be the other thing. It's windy today. It's going to be windy tomorrow. It's going to be windy on Friday. I wouldn't be surprised if the wind stuck around into Saturday, but at least the next 3 days, next 2 days, it's going to be breezy. But the winds shift out of the southwest tomorrow. So we'll have clear skies initially, then we'll start to go partly cloudy here and there. It will be breezy, and our temperatures, though, will be seasonable. We're going to be close to normal, which is about the mid to upper 40s for this time of year. So we're going to be right about where we should be. We go overnight. Thursday into Friday, clouds increase again. So our Friday, we actually start the first half of the day with mostly cloudy skies, but we should clear out going partly cloudy at least a bit. I know Future Track is holding on to a lot of clouds, so we'll see how exactly that plays out. We're going to have gusty northwest winds, and then late Friday, and this is going to run out of date about midnight, we could get some flurries heading into very early Saturday morning. We are not talking widespread snow. I know kids are probably looking forward to something like that, but we're not there yet. But we could get some flurries, no accumulations expected. expected, but don't be surprised as we head into early Saturday morning, and actually even through the day on Saturday, some isolated flurries are going to be possible. Now, again, remember, flurries are like drizzle to future track. It's not going to really show them all that well. So that may not show up on future track as we head into Saturday, but those flurries will be a possibility. Temperatures. They do this weird number here, hanging out in the low 40s. We're cloudy, skies gradually begin to clear out. Now, as I discussed earlier, there's a difference. We have what will be our official high and then what our daytime high will be. Our official highs today, for many of us, upper 40s, maybe even a couple of low 50s. But daytime highs, the temperature we are going to record at what would traditionally be peak heating for this time of year is going to be the low to mid 40s. So that's why we're going to go with the mid 40s, because if I put 50 up there, you'd be like, no, it's not. And it's not. We've already gone past that. Temperatures, again, slowly dropping. North winds, though, gusting to 35. So if you're traveling on any east-west roadways, hang on to that wheel. We'll have clear skies through the evening, back down into the upper 20s by 10, near 20. So with that said, some low 20s and some upper teens tonight. Northwest winds 5 to 10. Out the next couple of days, we're breezy, we're partly cloudy, we are seasonable. Into the mid 40s, overnight lows even a little above normal for tomorrow night. Then we get into the weekend, and that's when Mother Nature says, it's winter. And we drop back into the 30s. We've got temperatures single digits in teens, which means we could be looking at wind chills near zero as we head into the weekend. We stay cold to start next week, and in the second half of next week, we're still expecting that warm up back into the upper 50s, maybe even some low 60s, because again, as we said yesterday, why not? It's the 4 states. Would we have it any other way? No, probably not. That's a check of your forecast. Now we're going to ship it over to Samantha with Health Watch.
Thanks, Chris. Well, a major milestone for the nation's fight against cancer. A recent study from the American Cancer Society finds for the first time 70% of those diagnosed with cancer survive 5 years after the diagnosis. Data shows a large improvement in cancer survival rates from previous decades. In the 1970s, nearly 50% of those diagnosed with cancer in the U.S. lived after 5 years. However, the American Cancer Society estimates that 4.8 million cancer deaths were prevented from 1991 to 2023. The report attributes this to more advanced treatment methods, an increase in early detection screenings, and decreased tobacco use. Well, if you've ever stepped in it, you know what's left behind by dogs on sidewalks can ruin a day. Dog owners who don't scoop can create unhealthy and frustrating problems for neighbors. As Bradley Blackburn explains, some communities are turning to a cutting-edge tool for help.
At the Hudson Harbor condos in Edgewater, New Jersey, Christina Ortiz is a kind of detective for a certain kind of crime.
Oh, there's a sample.
Yeah, I know. Well, I stepped on one.
As property manager here, it's her job to deal with delinquent dog droppings left by owners who don't follow the rules.
People like to accuse each other when they don't necessarily have all the facts.
So Hudson Harbor turned to a company called Poo Prints that promises to help solve this mystery in a surprising way.
Part of my job is literally going to be to mail poop. Like, who says that?
Here's how it works. Small samples of droppings are sent via vial for DNA testing at this Tennessee lab and compared to a database of dogs. Every resident pup is required to be swabbed so their genetic information can be kept on file. If there's a match, properties can levy fines or punishments.
The disease and bacteria that humans can pick up from dog poop and other dogs can be very dangerous.
Poo Print's CEO, Jay Redinger, says it's a treatment for a public health issue. Dog feces can carry E. coli, salmonella, or parasites that spread on shoes or paws.
I'll be honest, I did not know that poop has DNA in it.
So it's kind of funny. A lot of people don't. As that poop is passing through the colon, it's pulling cells off of it, and that's where the DNA comes from.
Neighborhood HOAs have signed up, so have campgrounds and dog parks, all looking for a high-tech deterrent to bad behavior. For responsible dog owners, that's a relief.
I think it's wise. They need to really take care of their dogs.
A DNA watchdog helping communities catch offenders and keep clean. Bradley Blackburn, CBS News, Edgewater, New Jersey.
Poo Prints say when dogs are registered and swabbed, owners also get insights about their dog's breed and health background. Registration runs an average of $58 per dog, while a waste sample clocks in at $140 each. That's a look at some of today's top health stories. We'll be right back. Right now at 5:30, major changes on the way to McDonald County High School.
And it is cold and breezy today. Rain showers have already exited the area. We're going to talk about how windy it's going to be and how chilly it'll be this evening coming up.
Plus, a piece of American history now has a permanent home at the Pittsburgh Public Library.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Well, good morning and welcome to the KOAM Morning News. It's 5:29. I'm Samantha Walker.
I'm Chris Warner. It is now Wednesday, January the 14th. Your papers have arrived. It's like getting the morning paper when you go outside. Yeah. There they are, see? That last Health Watch story.
We were having a good time with
Oh
it.
my goodness, you've got to be kidding. Like, we're using DNA to prosecute offender pups.
I feel like that's the definition of a first world. I mean, I understand the frustration.
I know, I
but
get it.
It feels like the definition of a first world problem.
That is
I mean, don't get me wrong. It stinks.
It's a problem. I don't like stepping in it, you know. Like, it's no fun. You're supposed to clean up, but the fact that we're using DNA forensics.
$140 pest.
Oh,
it gets the poopers.
Yeah, we got to take care of the problems one step at a time, I suppose. And you're going to want to bundle up as you head out, and you're going to want to stay bundled up for the next several days because it's going to be downright chilly. Now, we're going to be fairly seasonable, honestly, the next 2 or 3 days, and then it gets really cold later. But first, we need to get you through Wednesday. And how are we going to do that? Well, we're going to start with our live look from downtown Pittsburgh. See, there it is. It looks quite nice out there right now. And we do have clouds. We had the showers, or a couple of stray raindrops that were on my windshield this morning, but the showers themselves have exited the region. Westco camera, 7th in range line, looking good so far as well. Same from the KDOT camera, 69-400, looking east along 171, and I think it's unfrozen. Yeah, see, we got movement, so now we're good. It was frozen earlier. All right, MoDOT camera, 20th in range line in Joplin, also looking good this morning. Folks getting their day underway. It is chilly, though. 45 in Joplin, 42 in Pittsburgh, and across the region, of course, further north, you've been behind the cold front a little longer. We've got these low 40s. Down south, we still have some upper 40s, and we're going to have an interesting time with our temperatures today. And I mentioned this earlier, but do want to mention it again. Our official highs today are going to be upper 40s, maybe even some low 50s, but our daytime highs are not going to be that. Our wind chills, wind's not too bad yet, but we do have wind chills, look at 8 center, down to 33 right now. We do have some 30s out there, but we're all going to feel that chill as the winds increase out of the north today. Skies will continue to clear into the afternoon and evening, leaving us with those clear skies. I said the problem is these gusty northwest winds. They're going to make it feel much colder. Kids heading out the door, have them grab the coat. They're going to want it by the time they get home. Cloudy skies, mid-40s, mostly cloudy, or at least clearing skies by lunch and recess. Partly cloudy as they head home, low 40s out there. Our highs, again, our official highs, upper 40s, low 50s. Our daytime highs into the low to mid-40s. Temperatures, as I mentioned too, they do not plummet through the day, which is good, but they will fall back and eventually back down to about 20 tonight. North winds today, 20 to 25, sustained gusting to 35. So again, if you're traveling any east-west roadways, make sure you have a good grip on that wheel. Be prepared for those gusts. That's going to keep our wind chills through the day into the 30s, and as temperatures drop eventually into the 20s and teens. We're going to have an early future forecast, talk about the seasonable weather the next couple of days and just how cold it's going to get this weekend here in just a few more minutes. Samantha?
Chris, thanks. Missouri Governor Mike Kehoe delivered his first State of the State address, calling for the elimination of the state's individual income tax within 5 years. Kehoe wants voters to decide the issue at the ballot box this year. He says Missouri isn't competitive enough, and to change that, we must first change the state's tax structure.
From our cities to our small towns, I hear the same message. It's time to compete. It's time to win. And it's time to show the country what the Show Me State is truly made of.
The governor also announced a new government efficiency initiative called Missouri Great and proposed cutting more than $600 million from the state budget. Kehoe emphasized Missouri's commitment to nuclear energy and expanding school choice programs. While last night marked the first State of the State address for Missouri's governor, it also marked the final State of the State address for Kansas Governor Laura Kelly. Governor Kelly opened her speech discussing possibly the biggest news for Kansas, the Kansas City Chiefs' plan to move to Kansas. She credits the decision to bipartisan teamwork, something she says is possible through civility.
Since the beginning of my administration, by using this approach, we've been able to enact into law 587 bipartisan bills. That's 587 times coming together across the aisle in today's politics. That's something we should all be proud of.
Governor Kelly's term ends January 2027. Though she plans to finish the term, she has said absolutely not to running for another political office, despite calls from her party to challenge Senator Roger Marshall's seat this year. The Pittsburgh Public Library is cataloging this as one of their best acquisitions ever, after receiving a piece of American history from the Library of Congress. This historic card catalog once served in the Library of Congress's James Madison building, likely dating to the turn of the 20th century. As part of a national initiative, Pittsburgh was chosen from all Kansas libraries to receive this honor.
So you can go into each one of these little drawers, open it up, and there is a QR code listed there, and you can use your phone to use the QR code and get more information on each of the services provided by the Library of Congress.
Each state was gifted a card catalog. Well, major changes are coming to McDonald County High School. The district recently approved a $1.2 million project to build new grandstands at the football field. Gilliam's Kenny Foreman tells us what the school community can expect in the coming months.
When it comes to fun community events like football games, there's one priority the district keeps in mind.
As we looked at this project, how we're kind of looking at it is, safety first focus, safe experiences for the students, safe experiences for our community and visitors. But then after that, we're kind of looking at, how can we impact the most amount of students possible.
That's why this $1.2 million renovation project will address needs such as building a new set of bleachers for the home team with ADA accessible ramps and seating that will create a better experience for everyone.
If you look at the stairs, it's extremely steep and really not a good flow as far as people, because obviously you come off the stands and you go right to the concession stands right there. And so really it was a lot of, spacing issues. Lots of trip hazard stuff.
Improved restrooms, concession stands will add to the experience, and the players will benefit as well with a new locker room.
If we have a football game, home and visitors have to go up the hill to the high school to use the locker rooms at the high school, which the safety concern is they're going across the parking lot. Cars coming and going throughout the ball game night, before the game, after the game. It's a concern for the safety of those students and the officials as well.
Now that the district has the funds to move forward with the project, they hope the community will feel the rewards.
We are proud of our district. We're proud of the facilities that we have, and we want to continue to maintain that level of pride with everything that we do, not just bleachers, all the way up to the press box we're building at the baseball field to our classrooms.
In McDonald County, Kenny Foreman, KOAM News.
Well, the bleachers are expected to be completed before the next football season, and the goal is to finish the locker room and concession stands before the following season. That's a look at our top news stories coming up on this half hour on the KOAM Morning News. Inflation report comes out, and consumers should be aware of changes. Plus, your grocery bill keeps climbing, with some items costing significantly more. We'll have the latest. You're watching the KOAM Morning News. In Consumer Watch, rising beef and coffee prices are keeping grocery bills high. Retail ground beef prices are up nearly 16%, while steaks are up 15% between January and December of last year, according to Labor Department data. Trump made lowering beef prices a priority last fall, tasking advisors with making ribeyes and fillets more affordable. But beef prices have been rising for years after ranchers began shrinking their cattle herds after a prolonged period of weakening financial financial conditions. Coffee prices are up 20% according to government data. Despite reducing Trump's tariffs on Brazil late last year, analysts say lower coffee costs have yet to work their way through the U.S. supply chain. But egg prices have come off their record high reached last year. Prices over the January-December period are down more than 31%, mostly due to a drop in bird flu cases. Well, some welcome news for consumers. The latest inflation data from the Labor Department shows price increases are continuing to slow down from a year ago. CBS's Jared Hill looks at what the numbers mean for the year ahead.
The market opened at near record highs and held steady following positive inflation news as we enter the new year. December's Consumer Price Index shows the inflation rate at 2.7% year over year, staying flat from November and finishing out 2025 on a low-key note.
People should be happy with this report. Obviously, it's not 2%, but it's also not 3%. And anything below 3 is worth being happy about and worth celebrating.
But December did see the largest one-month jump in food prices since October 2022. And financial analyst Stephen Cates says despite inflation being in check, people are still feeling the overall squeeze.
The price you see when you go to the grocery store, the price you see when you try to buy a car or buy a hotel room or an airfare, that price level isn't going down. In most cases, price levels only go one direction. They go up. And we're not going back to the 2019 or 2020 price levels that we had.
It's something Americans are struggling with, especially after the holiday season.
Like everybody, just kind of have to watch how much you're spending.
I mean, I used to get my hair done and my nails done, and I don't do any really of that anymore. I started getting my nails done around my birthday, and that's kind of like a special treat now.
Americans did see lower gas prices in December and discounted apparel. Tariffs also put less pressure on prices than previous months, and Cates believes the Federal Reserve will eventually reach its 2% inflation goal.
Will it happen? Yes. On what timeline? That is really hard to predict.
For now, the Federal Reserve is still forecast to leave interest rates unchanged at its meeting later this month. Jared Hill, CBS News, New York.
That's it for Consumer Watch, and now here's Chris with a quick look at your forecast.
Yeah, again, we've got those cloudy skies. Showers have moved on out of the area. Winds are already starting to increase a bit out there. We just saw our camera here shaking in downtown Pittsburgh. We're going to have a look at your forecast, talk about the chilly air on the way today and the bitterly cold weekend in just a few more minutes.
On energy these days, a look at some superfoods that could give you a boost in today's Ag Day Minute.
Clinton Griffiths with today's Ag Day Minute. It appears inflation numbers held steady last month. New numbers from the Labor Department show that consumer prices rose 0.3% in December from the prior month. That's the same as in November, but food prices made their largest gain since October of 2022, with notable increases in the prices of fruits and vegetables, as well as dairy products. Now, beef prices, they were up 1%. Egg prices were down more than 8%. What can you do to fight lower energy in the winter? Well, the answer may lie in eating so-called superfoods that are rich in essential vitamins, minerals, and antioxidants. Experts say oats are an excellent winter breakfast option, offering complex carbohydrates and fiber. Brazil nuts are highly effective at sustaining energy and reducing inflammation. And salmon is a lean protein rich in healthy fats and vitamin B12. And one young man has been voted as having the best mullet at this year's Pennsylvania Farm Show. 10-year-old Drew Fleshett of Dallas, Pennsylvania won the title at what's become an annual event at the show. Now, Drew wearing a red and black shirt and carrying a mop in honor of movie character Joe Dirt. And of course, completing the look with just the right mullet top. Now, Drew taking home an awesome trophy that is in the shape of the rear bumper of a Corvette. For more Ag News, watch Ag Day weekdays on the station or get updates over at agweb.com.
Now let's take it over to Chris with a quick look at your forecast.
Yeah, and we've got a breezy and chilly day ahead of us out there. Our feature track showing us those gusty winds. We're starting to see our camera in downtown Pittsburgh shake just a bit. The winds are gradually beginning to increase, and they're really going to pick up as we head through the morning into the afternoon. North winds, they'll be sustained from 20 to 25 with gusts to 35. So again, if you're traveling on any east-west roadways, especially in high-profile vehicles, make sure you're being cautious out there. Clouds will continue to clear, and by this afternoon into the evening, we should have clear skies out there. But with the winds increasing and temperatures decreasing. We're looking at wind chills, especially as we head into the afternoon and evening, dropping back through the 30s, the 20s, and eventually into the teens as we go overnight tonight. And we'll still have those teens for wind chills, even though the winds will ease up tonight. It doesn't take much of a breeze with very cold temperatures to make it feel much colder. Our Thursday starts off pretty chilly. We're going to have partly cloudy skies. Winds are going to shift out of the southwest, gusting up to 25, and that will actually allow us to be seasonably warm. In fact, we may even be a couple of degrees above average, but not like what we've seen. We're talking maybe some upper 40s out there. Clouds will begin to increase late Thursday into Friday, and we're going to spend at least the first half of our Friday with mostly cloudy skies. The expectation is we should get some clearing late Friday before clouds return Friday night into Saturday morning. Future Track is starting to think that we may not get that clearing, and then we'll have gusty northwest winds. It'll be breezy yet again. Those gusts 20-25 miles an hour. Now this Future Track will stop at midnight, but it will show you that we are talking about still those flurries, maybe a couple of snow showers. Remember, flurries are like drizzle to Future Track. It's not really going to show up very well, but we'll have an opportunity for flurries throughout most of the day Saturday, maybe a brief snow shower. We're not talking any kind of accumulations, but slick spots will be possible as we head into Saturday, especially if we're getting melting on roadways, cars driving, it refreezes overnight. For today, temperatures just kind of floating around the low 40s through the morning. Skies again gradually clearing. Some of you, of course, will clear faster than others as the clouds leave from north to south. Our highs, again, our official highs today, probably about 50 on average. Some is a little cooler, some a little warm, but about 50. But our daytime highs, what we're going to see by this afternoon, is going to be the low to mid 40s, and the temperatures will begin to continue to drop as we head through the afternoon. Now, like I said, the temperatures aren't going to plummet, which is good, but they will drop, and that's what, with those gusty winds, that's what's going to make it feel colder and colder as the night progresses. Clear skies this evening, upper 20s by 10. Tonight's lows about 20, so some upper teens, low 20s out there. Northwest winds 5 to 10. So like I said, the winds ease up, but with temperatures that cold, doesn't take much of a breeze to knock those wind chills back down into the teens and keep them there. As we head into tomorrow and Friday, like I said, near or a couple of degrees above average. Even our low Thursday night, a little above average. Then we're near normal Friday night into Saturday. Temperatures, though, drop. Now we're into the upper 30s on Saturday. A few flurries out there. As we go into Sunday, even colder, only into the low 30s, maybe even some of you only into the upper 20s for highs as we drop back down near 10. So we're talking near 10. So some single digits possible, which means wind chills could drop near 0 Saturday night into Sunday. Cold weather sticks around to start next week, back into the upper 30s, some chilly nights out there, but because it's the 4 states, so I know we've talked about it. You folks, if you've lived here as long as any of the rest of us have, you know that it is the 4 states, and it wouldn't be the 4 states without seeing the 50s and 60s again after we drop into the 30s this weekend. And that's what we're looking at for the second half of next week. Let's check your forecast. We're going to send it over to Samantha now with sports.
Thanks, Chris. Today in sports, a loaded basketball week continues here in the 4 states with 5 doubleheaders, including Pittsburgh hosting Fort Scott and Riverton battling Girard. Pittsburgh hosted the Tigers in girls action with the Purple Dragons striking first from long range as Mackenzie English hit a deep 3 to give them the lead. English later found Ona Jorge cutting to the basket for a lay-in, but the Tigers answered in the second quarter behind Lorelei Clark, who scored at the rim and added a 3 during the 10-0 run. Pittsburgh regrouped after halftime and used a strong second half to retake control, defeating the Tigers 47-39. Pittsburgh and Fort Scott boys meet in the nightcap with Jamarcus Davis fighting Cayman Navarton on an early inbounds play for a 3 to put the Purple Dragons in front. Fort Scott answered from the perimeter as Kanan Brown set up Drayden Marlowe for back-to-back 3s to shift the momentum to the Tigers. Pittsburgh connected on a well-executed pick and roll between Navarton and Danny Durden, 4 and 1-on-1, but Fort Scott maintained control and closed out a 71-56 win. That's it for sports. We'll be right back. NASA is launching the Deep Space Food Challenge, Mars to Table, a new global competition inviting chefs, innovators, culinary experts, higher education students, and citizen scientists to design a complete Earth-independent food system for long-duration space missions. Mars to Tables is an international competition in NASA's Deep Space Food Challenge, administrated by the Masvala Foundation. Teams will spend about 7 months designing nutritionally complete food systems for long-duration missions in Mars surface habitat through September 2026. The goal is to create Earth-independent integrated food systems that can operate under extreme constraints in space and in harsh environments on Earth. Organizers say the technology could benefit remote communities, disaster response, defense operations, and urban food resilience.
And you're going to need that coat for cold resilience as our temperatures drop through the day, hanging out in the low 40s through the morning. Skies clearing. Now, again, skies are going to clear from north to south, so some of you may clear before others do. As we head into the afternoon, winds increasing out of the north, 20 to 25, sustained gusts to 35. Again, daytime highs into the low to mid 40s, official highs near 50. Our temperatures continue to drop with those gusty winds, putting our wind chills into the 30s, the 20s. And even though the winds will ease up tonight, we're still looking at wind chills into the teens. Clear skies this evening, upper 20s by 10, about 20 for our low, and those wind chills about 10 to 15 above zero. So at least they're above zero. Northwest winds 5 to 10. We're going to be breezy through at least Friday. Southwest winds tomorrow are going to help out. Partly cloudy, mid 40s again Friday, but northwest winds now gusting to 25. Temperatures falling near normal Friday night. A big drop this weekend. We're falling into the 30s, teens and single digits for our lows, putting wind chills down near zero. Could get some flurries throughout the day on Saturday. Nothing significant expected, as we've discussed, but it's still showing up. So it's still going to be a possibility, but nothing too crazy out there for us. Just very cold temperatures. We stay cold as we start the next work week. Temperatures still in the 30s, lows 20s and teens, and then we will start to warm up again in the second half of next week. Temperatures climbing into the 50s and maybe even some low 60s by next Friday. That is a check of your forecast. We'll be back with more right after this.